Hello everyone and welcome back to another Plane to 777 video, and we'll be looking at the Qatar Airways business class Qsuite product from London Heathrow to Doha. Now here we are in London Terminal 4, and immediately you can see the huge presence that Qatar Airways has in London, featuring basically their own check-in area, especially here for the premium passengers, which is essentially like its own mini lounge at check-in, where they will have a lot of staff members to help you with the check-in process. And here is our boarding pass for the business class seat. And now let's head on over into the terminal itself. After a quick and efficient round through security, we find ourselves in the terminal featuring the Qatar Airways first class VIP card, which unfortunately we were not able to use since we were in business class, but it was a very cool thing to have nonetheless if you do happen to be flying in first class. Now let's head on down into the terminal, which has a lot of shops, and it's essentially a straight line terminal as you can see here on the map. Now what is unique is that Qatar Airways has its own entire section to itself. Now, if you're wondering why Qatar Airways has such a huge presence in London, it is, well, essentially because there are a lot of flights out of London for Qatar Airways, including a flight at 3, at 4, and a whole bunch of other times. Hence, the need for a dedicated lounge for Qatar Airways passengers in London. Now, let's head on over to our dedicated Qatar Airways lounge, which is split into separate sections, as you can see here, but as soon as you enter, you immediately feel the Qatar Airways vibe, almost as if you are in Doha. And immediately here is the entrance. And as soon as you turn in, wow, just amazing. Here is the dedicated Qatar Airways lounge, as you can see, with a whole swath of seating and a dedicated dining area with food, which is both in the form of a buffet as well as a la carte options. And even just looking through the camera, you can see that the food looks amazing. The seating options are quite ample, and the dining is prepped in a way that is most similar to the service that you would expect at the Doha lounge itself, with a nice little view to boot, of course. And here we are seated at our table. Immediately we were served with water. There is a QR code to access the menu as well as newspapers and magazines. And here is the dining setup for the table itself. The fact that a lounge has a la carte service is always a huge bonus to me. Here is a view where you can watch some planes as well. Now let's explore the rest of the lounge a little bit more. On the other side of the lounge, from the dining room, you see a lot of lounge seating areas. And so even if you are not in the dining area, you still have ample access to coffee, tea, juices, and more. Now heading back to our lounge experience, we of course have to get the champagne, and I got myself an additional hot chocolate. As you can see, the glass itself is Qatar Airways branded, signaling just how dedicated Qatar Airways is for their branding. Now while we are waiting, I also wanted to have a quick look at the restroom and shower facilities. As you can see, it is still very closely modeled to the Qatar Airways style based on their Doha airport, which is very nice. My first a la carte dish, I got myself the salmon sushi, which of course is just simply very good. Some of my travel companions also got the biryani as well as the Arabic mezze. Now, of course, since we were able to compare the quality of the food here to the Doha lounge, we can say that it was very close and very good. Next, I had the tomato soup bisque, as well as a salmon sandwich of sorts. Again, the quality was simply top-notch. And for the main course, I had the beef steak with mashed potatoes here. All I can say is that Qatar Airways has truly elevated the bar on business class dining in the lounge, and I don't think there's anyone else who can beat that quality. Wi-Fi. And while we were dining, I saw a KLM E195 E2, I believe, jet just come in to taxi and drop off its passengers. I will say this is the first time I've seen an Embraer E2 jet in person, And it's because of this experience that I actually got myself a scale 1/200 model of this particular aircraft. I will say the view from the lounge itself is great. While you won't see any planes take off necessarily, as a big aviation fan myself, I will always be happy to take the time to appreciate the inner workings of the plane and how the airport staff get about their work. As you can see, there's a lot of moving parts. So I just want to give my quick shout out to everyone whose hard work is put into the aviation industry, especially those that we typically don't see as much. Also coming in here is a Saudia 777-300ER, and it is still amazing to see the 777 in such close proximity. After spending a lot of relaxing time in the lounge, we had our quick last dessert of chocolate ice cream, and now let us head over to the gate itself. As you can see, there is our plane right there in the background, and today must be a very busy day, and it was very full. Here is the business class area, which involved a very speedy boarding process. And now let's see the walk into the airplane itself. Now I will say, I'm not sure if it's this particular gate, but I suppose this boarding, jet bridge is quite long and quite windy. In fact, you can even see the other passengers from behind, almost like a mini balcony view. Nonetheless, it is time for us to finally get onto our plane and witness the beautiful Qsuite. Here's my seat 3A, which is the closest seat to the window and facing backwards. And all the amenities are there with the pillows, blankets, lights, and everything about it. It's just amazing. Here's the amenity kit and towel. And here's the screen itself. Here's the tray table, and there is my iPad on the footrest. I'm sure most of you who are watch my previous videos already know how the plane works, but for my newer viewers, as you can see here, it's a very simple take out and unflap mechanism for the tray table. There's the amenity kit. You have the menu and wine list, as well as a slew of lighting options and charging options. Here's the view from inside the seat itself. Very private and very exclusive. As well as the door itself, which we will need to wait until takeoff to be able to close. Now, the biggest reason why I still think that Qsuite is the best business class product in the world, it's its mix of privacy and space, which is very well efficiently made. And now here's your, secret compartment, which comes with your water and headphones, and it's very convenient for you to put your phone and any little things that you might need quick access to. There's the reading light. And here's an orange juice, which is my pre-departure drink of choice when I'm not in the mood for champagne. As you can see, since the seat is facing backwards, here I am looking facing backwards. And now it is time to look at the menu. Feel free to pause whenever is most convenient for you when you want to get a closer look. It looks like our neighboring Gulf Air 787 is leaving us, to which we bid them adieu. And coming in here is a Malaysia Airlines A350-900, another beautiful jet from a beautiful country. Alright, and now it is time for us to start taxiing and prepare for takeoff. As always, do enjoy the following takeoff footage. Alright, now that we are in the air, the doors have been unlocked for us to close. Obviously, there is an emergency use handle just in case things go south. Not that I've experienced it yet, hopefully. As you can see, the door slides in and out very nicely, although there is a slight gap. Nonetheless, it is a very good door. Now here comes the pajama products from the White Company, as well as a hot chocolate drink that I always enjoy. You see, while some people might not like sitting backwards, I actually do quite a bit, especially since I get to enjoy this view quite a lot. Oh, and soon after, it is time for dining again. Now, I thought that I would be full after the great meal that I had at the lounge, but I suppose my appetite is still ready to go. Here is the table setup, very nice and elegant. And here is a quick starter, which is a beef of sorts. And the soup, which was very, very good. See, I'm not sure which caterers Qatar, I guess, hires to help make the food. But as you can see here, it is always top notch. Even the black miso cod does taste like what you would get in a good Japanese restaurant on the ground. While I was enjoying my hearty meal, you could see the sun setting over the horizon, which of course makes for a gorgeous view. But after enjoying the nice meal, it was time to go to bed. As you can see, here is what the bed looks like with the setup, with the high walls giving you a lot of privacy. The blanket and duvet were also extremely comfortable. And immediately after having a very nice sleep, for most of the flight, I woke up to get this lobster roll alongside some hot chocolate. And again, it is just so delicious. Even the a la carte dishes were just amazing. And soon enough, after having my fill, it was time for us to land at Doha. Enjoy the landing footage. And here we are in Doha. And I'm going to be honest, Qatar Airways is one of the very few airlines, if not the only airline in the world, where I would be more than happy to continue to stay on the plane for longer. In fact, I wouldn't mind of any delays at all. With the service, food, and seat, it's perfect. It is a 10 out of 10. And I can't wait to see with the recent announcement of the newer Qsuite edition of how the Qsuite product will evolve. If you get a chance for the Qsuite, just take it. Alright, and this is my review. Thank you guys so much for watching. And please remember to like and subscribe. This is Plane Dude 777 signing out.